You.
Uh, Hey,
Hey Sam, how are you?
I'm doing good. Glad
We've
to be
we've
back on
missed you.
here.
Tell us what's going on. We've missed you.
Oh man, I have missed you guys too. And honestly, I was just telling my kids, I wrote an offer last night and I was just telling my kids I'm so excited to be doing my job again. But um it's been honestly a pretty crazy year for me. My family and I moved from Missouri to Texas, and at the same time, my husband switched not only jobs but careers completely. And so now he works 3 weeks out of every month in Louisiana, and he's home for a week every month. And that's been totally different for me because he's been working 2 days on, 4 days off for our entire 22 years of marriage. So it's been a challenge getting used to being without him. And my daughter's in competitive cheerleading. So
I
since January, she has been at least two competitions every month since January that we usually have to travel for. So it's been life on the road for me, probably at least 3 weeks out of every month since January. So,
wow.
but we're done with comp season for now and settling back into a more normal routine. So I'm excited to get back into real estate and being back on here with y'all.
Well, we're happy that you're here. Thanks for jumping in.
Thank you.
Well, I wanted to talk about, first of all, it's coming up. This is Ashley and I have been hosting this for 2 years this month, and it's been an incredible journey of meeting people and lessons and laughter and tears and growing our businesses and you know all these things that we've had to pivot with. So when I realized, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's halfway through the year already. What have we learned? What are some of the lessons that we have learned that are working? And we've got a good group on today. So who wants to? Oh, Katie's right there with mom. Perfect. Who wants to jump in and talk about some of the lessons that they've learned? What's working so far? Oh, guys. So none of you've learned anything so far this year.
I always speak first. I'm not
I
going
love
to.
it. Oh, yes, you are. You opened up your mic.
What have we learned? To always be learning, always be
Okay.
open. Every
Always
time
be.
I go, well, do I really need to do this when I find something absolutely phenomenal or hear somebody's story or, so I was just talking, I was using a Peggy last night. We had a wine tasting and this young man, I said, are you like the owner's son? I mean, I said his name and he goes, yeah. I said, well, what are you doing for work? Oh, I'm studying to be a real estate agent. I'm like, wow, that's great. Have you talked to companies? Oh, yeah, so and so. I said, no, 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 stop, stop. You do not do anything before we talk. It's like, he was probably like,
Love.
I met you before, but I told his father, I said, I've known him for 30 years. I said, we need to chat. So, always be learning, listening, and applying.
Learning, listening, and applying. That's
Do,
really good.
be, have.
Do be have. I love it.
Yep,
Absolutely love it.
that's it.
Holly, I know you have to leave early, so I want to make sure time wise that you and Ruthie and anybody else there gets to jump in because you've done a lot of growth this year. Hello. You've done a tremendous amount of growth. You go to a lot of trainings. You're involved on many levels, giving back with agents. Let's talk a little bit about what you're doing that's successful and what you're maybe not going to do going the second half of the year. So jump in.
So one of the biggest things that I've been doing is being present. You need to be present. And like Samia said, you need to listen, actively listen, because sometimes I think we're always so busy talking, thinking how the next thing that we're going to do that we miss so much because we don't pay attention to everything that's going around us. Another thing is that, going back to the basics. it's a different market. I know our market and all of the uproar and everything about NAR and everything else, it doesn't even seem to be bothering the clients as much as it's bothering to the agents that's listening to all the noise and the background, everything going on. And then there's agents that are just freaking out. They're putting commissions in at 1% and 2%, and and because they're afraid, they're not educating themselves. So now's the time. And I started in a down market, and when short sales were around, and I had to sink or swim. I didn't know any better. And I had a company called Three Blondes and a Short Sale that was a national company, around. And it was one of those things I had to educate myself about that market, about what I could do, and I needed to educate the client. So right now it's more, when the market shifts and you don't have, we're still in multiple offers and certain price points and everything, but you need to go back to basics. It's time to educate yourself, get back to basics, and do what you do best. You've got to learn and keep learning.
That's great. Is there something that you did in 2024 that you're like, yes, I got this? And then something you're like, oh, I'm not really sure this is working. You or Ruthie, jump in.
Well, one of the things that I did, and I still keep pouring money into, is my sphere.
Okay.
Those are the people who know, love, and trust me. I don't do any outside. I advertise in my neighborhoods. I don't, used to be a whim and people would want you and you're like, oh, I'm going to do that and I'm going to do that. We advertise very heavily in our little market and with our sphere.
So can you expand more about that when you talk about advertising in your market? So you're uber focused then. You're like, I'm gonna love on these people. Tell us what you're doing that's working.
So one of the things we do, they have a Sailor Park Sustains Festival, and we advertise, and we're one of the major sponsors for the Oktoberfest. They have a children's on 4th of July, a bike parade, and I'm always present at those things, and I always donate to the same community because, and we have at our golf course, they do bands every Friday night. And we're one of the major sponsors. And it was a big chunk to be in the back of the board for 2 years, but we're there because that's where we live, work, and play. So I have found that one of the things, a lot of times people spread themselves so thin and they don't advertise where they live and where they work. They're like, oh, I want to be in this market and this market and this market. And then all of a sudden when somebody lists a house or buy a house in your area, you're like, oh, why didn't they call me? Because you take those people for granted. So we started heavily just locally where we live and we work.
So when you're talking about this, I've been in real estate, I'm going to date myself. You guys all know how old I am. 40 years in July. 1984, I got my real estate license in Connecticut. We had books. We had, you had nothing, guys, really. Yeah. You really, really, really had nothing except what we've been talking about all along. I don't even remember if we called it our sphere of influence. It was just like, oh, who do you know type of thing. Yeah. But you worked that, and everything was based on relationships. And you think about the call that we had last week with Chris, and you think about Monica Weekly talking about building a tremendous business through referrals only. Sometimes I just want to say to people, stop trying to reinvent the wheel. This is a people business. And not only are we with our sphere of influence, we've talked a lot about, and I had the opportunity and honor to host Jean's General's Call the other day. And relationships are key. Who are the people that you are putting like in your army? Who's your sphere? Who are your five closest wealth determiners? Because I know the market's down. I know our bank books are lower. I understand that there are multiple offers still. Like I said, I'm in Connecticut. My girlfriend who's here was my broker in 1987. And we were talking about what's happening. And you said a couple of key things that I hope that everyone will take for the rest of this year. Don't listen to the stuff swirling around. Don't listen to the media. Get rid of, let them go. The agents that you're talking to that are like, oh my God, the sky's falling. We're going to be out of business. We're this, we're that. We've been doing buyer broker agency here for over 30 years. People need us. The relationships that you build with your sphere are amazing. I'd love for you to build that relationship with other agents. Now, for those of you who are on Jean's call, I'm just going to repeat this one little tidbit. I got a lot of good response on this. The last deal that you did, have you called that agent? Have you thanked them? Have you sent them a note? Have you offered them a gift? How many of you here are on icon status or going to be icon this year? Okay, great. Have you made icon yet, Sarah? Not yet. Are you close?
I should be. I really need to check that today. I should be any minute now.
Okay, so what we talked about on Jean's call was how about the conversation of calling the agent that got that deal with you over that finish line? How about calling them and saying, I really want you to know how important you were to me in this transaction, how you putting this transaction together, getting it to close, changed my life and my family's life. Holly.
Ruthie does a great, tremendous job with this, and I'll let her share what she does.
I really just write a note to every agent that I work with, that we've had a good experience, we've closed, and I write them a personal handwritten note and just thank them, and if there was something that went awry and we worked through it, and just, it's pretty basic, but people
She's very
really, really
religiously
appreciate it.
about that.
That's excellent. And do you have branded stationery? Do you just get some cool cards?
I just have, they're real plain and simple. They're black on the outside and it just says Ruthie Ober on it and then white on the inside. And it's pretty classy and just personal. I've heard people say, not to use branded, not to use something with your name, but I think, it's pretty basic, but it's just elegant and not in your face EXP.
Right.
But, I've had, couple of agents, one in particular in Indiana that I've worked with, and he and I have, only worked together once, but I wrote him a note and he literally took a picture of it and put it on Facebook and said, this is what it's like to work with a professional agent. And this made my week and I'd work with her any day again, So it just that little thing goes a huge long way.
And that's so amazing, because I know I've gotten a handwritten note from someone on here that brought tears to my eyes. I couldn't believe I got a handwritten note. Those are the things that set us apart. Are you writing those handwritten notes to your affiliates? So who are the people that are also helping you get through this? Your home inspectors, your lender, your, I don't know what, whatever else you use. You have somebody that you call on for repairs all the time. Don't forget them. Those are your wealth determiners as well. So we can implement that if we're not already doing it. Or Ruthie, thank you for showing us. The next time, bring one of those note cards just to show what it looks like. Or if you have one right there, which I bet
she's gonna go grab it.
You're gonna get it. So what else are you doing? What's something that you implemented this year that you've never done before that you want to share with the group?
Well, we just had, I guess it was my second transaction that I got under contract, third one to close, but it was extremely challenging. So mom helped me out a lot on it. But after it finally closed, there was a lot that happened. but she has some bourbon bottles that she has her name on. She got them a year or so ago, and we give them out from time to time. But she took one down to the attorney who did the closing, and we sent flowers to the paralegals because of how the day after it closed, because it was extremely challenging, and they got it done for us. They did stuff after hours, and so that's something we did. We sent them because she's used them a lot. But
Yeah, and we've also taken them lunch about a year and a half ago or 2 years ago. I I just called and they send me business. They do all my title work that I have control of. And just because they're so good. And so I just called them. I said, what day can I bring you guys lunch? And how many should I plan for? And we just got barbecue and the sides. And there were attorneys there that, really didn't know who I was, but they know who I am now. And I am probably their top referrer, and they refer quite a bit of business to me back. But it was truly just an appreciation because they do save our bacon so many times.
They do. They do. They really, really do. I love that. And that's so simple, guys. It doesn't have to be a whole catered luncheon or anything like that, because we have to respect our money. We've got to know where our money is. So halfway through the year, I know this is kind of a difficult question for some people, but where's your bank book right now? When you set your goals for 2024, how many on this call are willing to be vulnerable enough to say, I'm right on target? My bank book is actually overflowing from the number I first put down. How many are willing to say it's not?
It's not.
Okay, Lisa, thank you. Hi, where are you from, Lisa?
Boston.
You're in Austin?
Boston, B.
Boston.
With a B.
Oh, I love Boston.
Did you hear me?
Yeah. Cool, you're right up the road from me, right?
Yeah,
So,
right. You said Connecticut. So I think, finances has been a really important one this year. I think if you're a little bit, maybe you're a little slower than you were, so you got to focus on something. So I am in a financial wisdom class with John Maxwell. And I've also, so I'm just working through a lot of the financial pieces because it's a little slow. And I think, you can't just sit back and say, okay, now I'm going to have some free time. So I've done a lot of things this year that changed and still working them out. The handwritten thank you notes, that's part of my process. We write those at the end of every deal to every agent. So that's just a check. It's on, right on the board, check it off when you send it out. Because I can remember I've only received one. And still, it's so significant that I've only received one. And I remember who that was, and it was years ago. So a couple of other things I feel like for me this year, time management has always been a struggle and still is and probably will be my whole life. And then the finances and decision making. So decision making, I think we all need to decide if we want to get something done like our finances. Make that decision and don't leave any open cracks to change your mind. The real decision making is you don't leave the ability to change your mind back. So I feel like
I think sorry, we couldn't hear what you said there.
My goal, but I'm sorry.
Sorry,
can you hear me?
A little
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's just internet. It's nothing you can do. Can you just back up? What did you say about your financial goal?
Well, I'm off on my financial goal, but I'm still going to stick with the plan, but not change the goal. So just stick with that plan. Well, or change the plan, not the goal. But I find time management is probably our biggest struggle. I teach a lot of agents, and I have an office space, so I invite I'm a Maxwell coach, so I invite other coaches in and do so much. Like we do meditation. We did one on being a person of influence. So I've been inviting all these other coaches in to work on mindset with my agents, especially this year where a lot of people are leaving or confused with the buyer agency and all of that. But I just think everything everyone's saying is really important, going back to the basics We're
Mhm.
doing the basics maybe differently, but taking the time to time blocking. I set my alarm for every 25 minutes. So I
Oh,
do a
wow.
25-minute activity, and that passes so quick, and you realize you're still looking at Facebook, and it is so bad. So just set your set your phone 25 minutes, figure out what you did in that 25 minutes, take 5 minutes, walk around, go back, do 25 minutes again. So I find that is a really good time, I don't know, a time hack.
That's great though,
Um,
25 minutes. I like that
yeah.
because that will go by quickly.
Yeah, I mean, instead of saying I'm going to sit here for 2 hours, do my calls, we can do that, but you'll be so bored, you'll get distracted, and you really don't know what you've done with your time.
Mhm.
So I feel like time management, decision making, and learning right now, where you have some space, like using ChatGPT, or I use copying content, learning how to use that to make your business better and easier.
It's not
You have
going
to,
away. So
oh
we've
no,
faced it.
you should be so excited, like so excited, because it's going to help you and it's easy. You just need
Mhm.
to get over the learning curve. With Canva, ChatGPT, those things, you can't spend all your time there, but what if you spend your 25-minute time block or set things up on your phone ahead of time? But if you just do all those time blocks and make a decision to have something out on social media, on social media every single day,
Mhm.
one little thing every day, because we've always known it's top of mind.
Absolutely. One person that I know is great on this is Ashley, because if it is not on her calendar, it
Doesn't
does not,
exist.
it
Doesn't.
absolutely doesn't happen. And Ashley has taught business planning all around the country forever. She also was certified to was it the one thing or shift? One thing.
Okay.
One thing. So
Uh,
in talking about that, Ash, jump in on this because man, you could talk for hours on time blocking and focusing on the one thing.
Well, I don't know. I'm more focused on, I think, going back to the basics, there's a reason for that. And I think, history is cyclical, right? It's not a straight line and it repeats itself, and there is nothing new at all. And I think that the lesson there is we didn't learn it all the way the first time. And agents aren't the greatest at the time blocking and the basics and the follow-up. I remember when in 2005, I was working for one of the very first IDX providers for websites for agents. And one of the statistics was that 78% of agents don't follow up with their sphere. So almost 20 years ago, and I guarantee you that's still a fact, right? Like that statistic is probably still 100% accurate because most salespeople who are relationship people are not, systems people. They're not logic. They don't like repeating behaviors and habits and all of those things. And so I think the lesson is there's, the basics are there for a reason. They are the foundation of the business. And if you're not willing to put in the time to get those right, then the relationships don't matter, right? Mm-hmm. You can't just go have fun all day and hang out with people and expect that the business show up. And so that's where I think why we're repeating this right now in the market that we're in and having to go back to the basics, because those are the first things that typically agents will throw out the window when you're in an up market. It's like, oh, I don't want to do that stuff. And, transactions are happening and things are falling in my lap, so I don't have to do that anymore. Right. And so I think that's kind of the whole point of it is you can't have a continuous business, can't have a even type of commission or income instead of the roller coaster if you're not willing to consistently always do the time blocking and the follow-up and the little basic things that we take for granted in our markets, So I think it's more about that. And so like for me, I was struggling at the beginning of the year or the end of year last year. Every single event I went to, I was just like,
oh my God, if I hear the same thing said a different way one more time, just please kill me. Like, just end it. I'm done, because everybody's saying the same things over and over again. And then just recently I went somewhere and I was like, you know what? I think this is God's way of telling me, like, I'm not listening. I'm not getting the point, and I'm not learning it. And so, or I'm not doing it. And this is why he beats us over the head sometimes and repeats things over and over, because we're stubborn and we think we know better, or we're smarter than everybody else. And so I think a lot of it is what you're open to and what you need in that moment. And that's why it keeps coming back around. So
I would absolutely agree with that. And, we go back to budget planning and finances, and Ashley, what should they be looking at? What should we all be looking at right now? What are the most critical things when we're looking at our budget for the year that we need to adjust or pivot on?
So this is my 2 cents. Take it for what it's worth. I don't know if any of you were on the call I did from Arkansas in like October last year, but I talked about how many ancillary businesses or companies there are surrounding a transaction. And so we as the agents are the center of the transaction. We own the client, and yet there's 50 plus other businesses that are getting paid, give or take, not all 50 every transaction, and it's more than just title and lending, right? It's staging, it's credit repair, it's, there's so many different types of services. And because of NAR happening this year, I think that is more important than it was in October, because we didn't know what the outcome was going to be. We didn't know that all these things were going to be changing with commissions. Excuse me. And I think if you don't pivot and start adding to and investing in some of those ancillary services and becoming a business owner with whatever that thing is, it could be a cleaning company, it could be, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. But you as an agent are just as worthy of having ownership, JV, whatever, with a title company, with a mortgage company, with an insurance agent, and we're giving it away, guys. We are giving those relationships away, and we're not getting back hardly anything. Well, big deal. You get $75 from a home warranty company. That's not making or breaking you. Okay. But if you want to make the same amount of money, it may not happen in transactions anymore, because we don't know how this is really going to affect us until the final say is done. Because everything we know right now is just speculation, right? It could change 5 more times before they actually roll it out. So that is where I think everyone needs to go, is starting to expand and getting paid outside of just your transaction commission. Sarah.
Okay, so as you're talking, my mind's spinning,
Mhm.
right? So I'm trying to think, okay, what are some things that, like I really am looking to work more, right? I'm really
Yeah, right. I know.
work smarter, not harder. So when you said start a cleaning company, I'm like, yeah, I could probably put together a list of cleaners and get them jobs and charge the client and pay them. That's a way.
Yep.
What are some other concrete ways? Like, I have relationships with insurance people. I've got one that she is a really good referral source for me.
So
Yeah.
So
So
not
what
to
are some
create-
other,
Yeah.
concrete ways that we can monetize some of this stuff? Because I'm having trouble connecting it.
Okay, so with insurance, there's no reason you can't go get your insurance license and then you get paid on those referrals. And those are residuals. So you can come up with a referral agreement to where you get a residual on any policy that they write, whether it's homeowners or auto or whatever. You can have an insurance license. Now, I don't know the compliance in all of your states, obviously, but that's something that you could monetize that relationship. The other thing is credit repair. It's real easy to get into partnership with credit repair services, which is a lead gen source for you to build, potential clients once they're ready and they've done the work on it, and to feed that. Staging companies, those are easy. You're in the house, you can charge for that. Like, there's not a lot of, especially with how how many resale items there are now and consignment places. Like, you don't necessarily have to have a bunch of storage for it. Or there's somebody that might want to just partner with you that already has a staging business and would like to have a guaranteed, hey, we'll stage all of your listings or whatever's needed, right? I've got my presentation that has the list of all the 50 plus ancillary services, but I think the biggest thing is traditionally the brokerages have always had these relationships, right? And agents assume that only the brokerage is allowed to be the investor and allowed to earn that income. And the income is based off of y'all's production. So I think EXP just makes this the perfect place for this, is that EXP is not trying to make money off of, like, yeah, they have a title company. Yeah, they have a lending arm, but you can go do whatever you want. And so if you don't have a title relationship or a JV in title, that is one of the easiest things to do. And it's very, lucrative. And you're not necessarily going to be the title person. You don't have to go get licensed for that. Like, you're not going to be the person, but there are opportunities out there for JV title relationships. There's JV lending relationships where you can get your mortgage broker's license in certain states, and then you can get paid on, different ways from that standpoint. So I'll share with you guys the slide that I made with all 50 things that has, all the ideas around it and stuff like that. But I think that's what people need to do in order to get to the next level, because the transactions aren't necessarily there, right? So in order to at least break even to what you're used to or get more, you're going to have to start thinking outside the box of that. Ruthie, you've got your hand.
So we have to leave to go to our statement.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to share real quick my note.
Oh, I love it.
And you can get it in any color, but this is just real plain, real simple. And then real quick, one other thing that I send to my sphere, which I think is really cool because they love it and I get a lot of compliments on it. If you've not looked at Reminder Media for a quarterly magazine that's personalized with your information on it, you should do that. It's a little pricey, but it's really worth it. People love to get it. And there's a couple of different options that you can choose from. So I just wanted to throw that in, but we're going to jump off and get to our state meeting.
Have you generated business as a result of that, Holly?
It's me, and I get, again, I'm a lot like Holly, and most, if not all of my business is referral. So yes, it keeps me top of mind, and they send people to me.
And so yes, he gets a lot of business from other agents.
No, I'm talking about my clients.
I know, but even other agents.
Yeah.
Cool.
So,
Thanks, guys. I know you got
Thanks. Bye.
soon. Bye. So who else is doing some things that they can, say, yes, this is working, or who else needs some help with determining what should I 86 for the rest of the year? And are you tied into it? And are you like, oh my gosh, I've been doing this, but it's not working? Let's be honest here.
Yeah, I have something really quickly. I was getting bored working at home in this beautiful little office I have here in the middle of my living room. Once school is out and my husband's in, it gets chaotic. So it's a little boredom in the morning, except for my wake up Wednesday calls. These are my highlights, right? And my coaching with Tanya. But then in between, you have to get uber focused on in time blocking, and I was just getting bored. I need people. That's why I love this industry and this career, because you get to chat and talk with people and establish relationships. So being alone here was really nice and very productive, but I was getting a little bored. So I'm taking advantage of our Regis offices, which are gorgeous, guys. They're gorgeous. And the one here that I go to has a corner office that I have a view of Wall Street. So it's very invigorating, I guess. What is it, the word I'm looking for?
Invigorating.
Yes, invigorating. I'm sorry. Yes. And it's inspiring. And you see buildings. I'm like, yeah, real estate and Wall Street. And it just gives you a little different energy than being at home, because this is all around family and the same old. But over there, I've gotten to meet wonderful people this past week. I started on Friday. I absolutely love it.
Did you rent a space or you using the free
No,
space?
I just used the free space, and the first time there was nobody there, so I had the whole view to myself. But then the second day, two other people came in, different companies, not in real estate, but they have, I guess they also have Regis. So we got to chatting, and it was really nice because we inspire each other. And then it was just quiet time working, but you see other people doing their thing, their hustle, and you want to hustle. So you
Mhm.
don't have that, oh, I got to grab a snack, or I got to walk the dog or pet the dog or whatever, anything that comes to mind. I also quickly have been reading the book. I think we mentioned it the last time, Worthy.
I got
And and Ashley just mentioned you're worthy of, JVing and stuff, and absolutely true. I was working hard but not succeeding going all the way through. And I think it was a self-worthy issue. Self-confidence and self-worthy are two different things. And I was confident and am confident with talking with people, but my self-worth in going all the way to for that success and earning that check, because we can make big money in this industry, but do we feel worthy of it is a different thing. And I wasn't feeling that. I was always thinking, I don't know, I just gonna keep working hard and get the little bit that I deserve. But no, we deserve, we're worthy of so much more. We're worthy of abundance. And I wasn't feeling that, guys. I just wanted to work and show people that I care and help. But then there's that other side of it, that you're worthy of goodness too, of abundance too. You can help people get their abundance, but you also deserve that abundance as well. And so yeah, this book is incredible, if not for yourself, just to help others, even maybe, helping others get their homes. Sometimes they don't feel worthy of having their own home. And so you sort of have to talk to them and say, you are worthy, but you can't teach it unless you know it. So this book is helping me learn, not for myself, but to help others who might be stuck and feeling, oh, you know what? I changed my mind. I don't really deserve this house. I work hard and I don't, well, yes, you deserve it for your family. That's where you're going to grow. And that's where you're going to share wonderful moments. And you are worthy of that, not just hard work, but worthy of good memories and a beautiful home to come to. So I think that's helping me these past 2 weeks. That's it.
You always say so much. Thank you. Not only did I get the book, but I have it on audio. So I'm just randomly, when I'm in the car or on the plane or whatever, just,
Yes,
jumping all over the place and
it's
listening
beautiful.
to different things on it. It is beautiful. Thanks for bringing that
It's
up
good to
again.
share with your children too.
Yes, I've shared it
Worthy.
with my daughter. She's
Yeah.
gonna turn 13 and she's going through some things, and I share everything and we read it together. Little pages here and there, not the whole thing, but yes, she actually loved it. Even my husband, he goes, I always thought, what is it that, and now it's so clear. What is confidence and what is self-worthiness? It's
Mhm.
totally two different things. One is the foundation and one is the one you built on top of that foundation. It's amazing. It's a great visualization, great to imagine all the possibilities when you feel that self-worthiness. So I hope that helps.
No, that was great.
Thank you.
That was really, really good. So
Oh, and Peggy, I saw your call. That was amazing. I'm sorry. Awesome how you stepped in and did the call for Jean. Oh my God, I watched it. It was really good. It was really
thank
good. Thank
you.
you.
That's, and
It
I
was
appreciate,
very good. And very good.
thank
You
you.
did a great job, Peggy.
Talk about being nervous and not feeling worthy. That was something that I was, kind of struggling with. And I had to wrap my mind around that when I got that phone call. And I'm, totally transparent with you guys. I was nervous. I was scared. And you never hear me say I'm nervous or scared. And
It
but what I
didn't show up. You didn't look nervous or act nervous or
Not one bit.
scared.
Not one bit.
I I appreciate that. And some of the things I talked about on that call was the fact that everything we do prepares us for that moment when you have to do something. And in our spare time, or our self-talk and all of that, what are we telling ourselves? What are we internalizing? Do we know our stuff well enough to be able to just talk about it? So if you get that phone call to, go for a listing, or you're in a restaurant and you hear somebody talking about real estate, are you confident to walk up to them and say, hey, I couldn't help but overhearing you're talking about real estate right now. I'm an agent, you know, not really sure where those I'd love to hear your thoughts on what you're talking about, especially if you know what they're talking about is wrong, right? Yeah.
You also need to take your business cards with you. Take 10 business cards with you all the time and a pen. So when you hand out your business card, you ask them for their contact information, because 90% of the time they will not call you back, even if you give them your business card.
So I'm just going to jump in for a second, and I'm going to challenge you all on this. I did an open house in California 3 weekends ago, and I didn't have a flyer, and I purposely did not have a business card with me. I captured every single person's number and got them to give it to me, because I just went and said, oh, Dee Dee, I'm so sorry, we're out of flyers. Listen, I know you want one. And I held my phone right here and I said, give me your phone number. I'm going to text it to you right now. And I sent it to them immediately.
That's different, Peggy.
But you can do that in anything, Tucker. I don't carry business cards. I get strangers to give me their numbers. I'm going to text you something of interest. You got to ask.
I carry business cards, and they're double thickness. They make a statement and they comment, oh my gosh, this is the nicest business card that I've ever seen.
Okay, and I'm going to challenge you. What do they do with that business card when they get home?
Well, 50% of them keep them, because I call them and they've got it on their person.
Okay.
But it also has got my website, and I will say to Dee Dee and everybody else on here, I love using Regis, but Regis is free, and Spaces is free. And by the way, Regis bought 70 WeWork locations, and so they've expanded even more so, but you have to sign up with EXP to do that. Because if you use their copying machine, which I have done, they send the bill to EXP. You have to agree to pay the bill.
Right. So Regis is a great opportunity. I've been to Spaces. I was at WeWorks when they were still just WeWorks. If you go in every morning, if you make that part of your routine, if there's one close enough that you're going, just think about the connections that you're going to have. So anything you can do to leverage yourself, to meet new people, to be comfortable with, just go there and set up in a booth or a table and start talking to people. You know, bring that book with you. Worthy, bring a couple other books with you. Make the area look like it's your workspace. People
Wear your name tag.
Tag.
Wear it. I saw Sarah had hers in one call. She had hers on. Sarah, you have yours, right? This is really good. Sarah, I know Sarah wears one. I've seen her in the call with one. They help. So if they forget your name, it's right on there.
That's a great reminder. Oh, look at her EXP Realty t-shirt. Look at these two girls. I love it.
Those are really cute. I love those.
So I also think, and Kevin's got his on, Kevin never goes anywhere. Of course, he's a guy. He can wear the shirt with EXP on it. But Kevin, you had your freaking car wrapped. EXP, my pink Jeep that you got rid of. And now you've got the car.
So everything we do is very much branded with our information and with EXP. I mean, which everybody on this call knows. I mean, I'm all in. So
He's got
I do. Everything is going to tie back to EXP. Even what I do my lawn in has EXP on it.
Yep, yep. And that's another great way of getting out there and letting people know what you do. I was going somewhere the other day and I could have I was walking out with a pink baseball cap on, and then I said, whoa, wait a minute. I've got my EXP baseball cap. Why don't I just throw that on instead of a cute little pink cap? I need to let people know what I'm doing. That's cool. Who else wants to jump in? I love when we get these small intimate groups because we get to talk about, really the heart of things. Now, Evelyn, are you on? She's there. I don't know if she's. Evelyn is, Evelyn's in California. She does mortgages. She never, ever, ever misses a call, or very rarely. You're 99% always here. Evelyn, introduce yourself. Talk about what you do and how people, no matter where you are, you can help people. What are you seeing in the market right now?
Well, I think everyone wants improved rates, which we're hoping will start stabilizing. Like I said, I'm licensed in all 50 states in the District of Columbia. I'm actually doing a lot of construction financing. People are buying lots themselves and hiring contractors. So out of subdivisions, people have land that they've been gifted to from families. So we offer that type of financing, FHA, VA, conventional on that. So I see a lot of that. A lot of people are doing renovations, things like that. So we have it all. We're still doing down payment assistance, lots of products and things available for that too. So it's just getting people, get out there and buy. Real estate's a great investment, and everyone's going to be looking at a refinance sometime probably in 2025 as well. So it's getting them to take the plunge. And for some people, maybe it's a little difficult, or not difficult, but a little painful for a little bit, but it's just going to be a short while. And you're going to it's going to pay off with the equity that's going to happen in the next year too. So that's what, so that's what I'm doing all over, just, different states all over. So when you see, I know in California, they have multiple offers, and where I am in Connecticut, they are too. Your offers that are getting accepted, what are your agents doing to make that offer bulletproof? What are you seeing? Their clients, they've got pre-approval letters. That helps out a lot. I will make the call to the other agent to kind of let them know that, introduce myself, let them know how far they've gotten in the process, let them know how strong they are, things like that. Anything that we can, because it's a team effort. Everything's a team effort. Mm-hmm. So you are definitely, and I know from where we are, you go to open houses, you go to the concerts on the green that we do, you show up, you have a partnership with your agents. And I know you can't go to something in Nashville, although you might want to come visit Sarah and I in Nashville. You can't be everywhere. I just think it's so amazing when you can have that relationship with your mortgage broker or your title or your escrow or your attorney on the states that, we've got attorney states here. And yep. Your relationships are long-term that you have with your agents. Yes. Yes. And my clients. Exactly like Holly said too, it's your sphere of influence with your clients. I've done families, starting mm-hmm. with the parents and then all the kids and then it's grandkids. So, being in it a long time, but yes, I have referrals for lifetime. That's how I like to work my business. And I know all of you do the same. That's what we're here for. It's generational. It really is. Is there anything on VA, on what's going to happen with the VA loans? Do you have an update on that with the commissions? I know nothing's written in stone. I don't think anything's going to change. VA's never been able, a veteran has never been able to pay their agent their commission. It's not mm-hmm. going to change. Nothing I don't think is going to change. There's until this thing comes up through, I think everything is just going to stay the same. It's not part of seller concessions. Right now, I haven't heard anything more than that. They're just sitting sitting with that. I don't, I mean, I'm seeing a lot of agents right now that are asking a lot of questions with their broker to make sure that they're covered if they're doing buyer broker agreements, which has been a great, a great thing. So we're all gonna, I think, play this all together and see what happens.
Okay. Sarah, Katie, your mom had her hand up on that. Does she know has she heard something a little bit different?
She thought she had heard that that had been suspended, but she had to step out for a second, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Evelyn, can you double check on that? Because I know it's different everywhere and we're all getting information. I heard Pat on a call yesterday saying that they were going to work with something, but maybe the wording's going to change. And I know this is all fluid, you guys, so we all get different information.
I think it'll take a while to go through the system because it's VA. So
Right.
it's just like FHA with HUD, things, we don't make those decisions. They go through the government piece of it. So they understand, like I said, the one thing that VA doesn't want to do is have their veterans not be able to get a home loan because of this situation. So they will always benefit looking for the veteran. It's just that who's got to make that decision. And that's going to be not where we're at. So
something will happen because we do want
yeah. I think everything will happen. And once they come out with the thing July 1st, whenever the first part of it comes through, then like I said, it could be another 30, 60, 90 days because the government they don't do things like that fast, but it all remains to be seen. But I know they're going to want to make sure that their veterans are not going to not be able to get a home loan because they can't cover that, or however they'll work that out. With everything, FHA convent, they're all going to make sure that buyers are not going to be detrimented because of this situation. They'll work something out.
Perfect. That's encouraging. So going into the last 5 minutes of this, and wow, this hour went really, really quickly. What do you want to share? Who wants to tell the group? What are you implement? What are you adding? What are you adding to your goals for the second half of the year? Because I believe if you don't state it, it really doesn't happen. Does anybody want to be vulnerable right now and say, okay, this is what I'm adding. This is what I'm changing. Be attraction, could be a baby, could
not for me. We'll let Ashley do that. I'm gonna make more calls. I am making more calls. So and I'm doing my affirmations every morning now instead of waiting to the end of the day. So that's what I'm doing.
Do you have an affirmation?
It's on my schedule.
Do you have an affirmation you can share?
Yeah. I, Samia Morgan, enjoy earning $75,000 a month, and everything I do contributes to that perfect result. I, Samia Morgan, enjoy recruiting 50 agents a month, and everything I do contributes to that perfect result.
Okay, guys,
it sounds out there, but if you don't put it out there, it's not going to happen.
I love that. And I thank you so much for, being confident and comfortable enough and worthy. I'm going to use that word, worthy enough, that you deserve that. It's possible, and that's why being in these rooms it's so important. Because if you were to say that like at a broker meeting or with some co-brokes or whatever, they'd look at you and go, what? Are you 75,000 a month?
It's also having been raised in Catholic school and Coptic and Egyptian, you're not supposed to ask for money, but check out the prayer of Jabez. It's a little tiny book, and it tells you that God has all these doors for you, just waiting for you to ask them to be opened, all his blessings. And it takes a while to internalize that, but it's real. And I used to say it in the shower and say, 20 years ago, I said, 30,000 a month. And back then that was a lot of money. And it happens. And so and then I stopped doing it, and I went to Larry Kendall's session, and he believes in affirmations. He believes you handwrite them, and my handwriting sucks. So I believe in saying it out loud, because to me that's more powerful than me handwriting it. So I did have my handwriting font made years ago, and I just resurrected that because I like to write notes, but I want people to be able to read what I'm writing, and my writing really sucks. So I'm excited to, because I use the computer all the time, and I'm sure Ashley recognize that. But so I'm excited. I have a stack of cards right there, and I am going to start using my font, and it's gonna really look real. And I'm very, very, very excited about that.
I just want to give Sammy a shout out. She is speaking at the Star Power Conference. That's awesome. Congrats on that.
Thank you.
Wow,
Y'all
when
should
is
come.
that?
Y'all should come, especially if you're near Nashville. Hint, hint. July
When-
25th to the 7th. Are you coming, Sarah?
July what?
25th to 27th. And there's a $50 coupon I posted on Facebook. Star Power has given me so much, and that's where I learned about the biorepresentation agreement, and I've been using them for over 20 years.
Well, I would love to come see you there.
Oh, come and collaborate and learn, and
I'd
yeah, I'd
love
love
that.
to see you there. You coming?
You know what? I think my schedule will allow it. I
Great.
don't think I have anything those days out of town. So yeah.
It's a phenomenal group, and didn't they just restart it about 2 years ago?
Yes, Jana Codell bought
Jana,
it
yeah,
and then
that's what I thought.
sold it to Amy Stair, who's a great human being, and she's been pouring her heart and soul in it. And I went there in April for my interview. But so they have a coupon for $50 off. You could join the Star Power Club. So just go starpower.com / or just do starpower.com. You'll see the reference for the club, and the club is all the podcasts you can get, and the conference is listed there, and the code. Oh shoot, where's the code? I can put it in the chat in a minute. I'll find it.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, I think this was a great call, everybody. I hope you are as enthused and revved up as I am. John, thanks for joining our group. Any closing
Thanks, Peggy.
words
If I
real quick?
could I just part on maybe just a couple of comments, because this is like going back to the rink again after not playing for a while. And I have been off for a little bit, but I wanted to acknowledge a few things that people have said. And Lisa, so she's part of the John Maxwell leadership team as well. And that's what I did while I was away. When I stepped down from real estate for a little while, is I took some time for me. And I think that's the main thing, you know, when you ask what we've done that's been different over the course of time. And part of what I did was I stepped away from everything. I basically took a sabbatical to, you know, after 35 years of being in the industry and around real estate agents, and just basically swimming upstream every day, all day, you know, and dealing with our own personal life events, tragedies and epics, et cetera, was stepped away. And Lisa, I think you'll agree with me that John Maxwell leadership certification was just really a wonderful leveling up of me personally in my life, to be able to bring in and pour into other people. So that was good. And some of the other comments that I heard was something about, you know, going to some of these events, et cetera, and hearing the same old, and reinventing the wheel. And Peggy, I think about, you know, some of the conversations you and I've had the last 48 hours or so since we met on that phenomenal call that you did do. And again, you did do a great job. So take that to the bank. So yeah, we do, as real estate agents, we do want to reinvent the wheel. And I look back to when I first started in real estate, and I was getting solid advice on what to do to break into the business and create an income. And sometimes as agents, we do want to go and reinvent the wheel. But as Peggy, I think you and I, and maybe there's a few other folks that have been in the industry since the 80s, but we've seen so much change and development, hence eXp Realty. Like, I mean, the best just became better with RevShare 2.0. But one of the things as a Canuck who's played hockey most of his life is that whenever our team was losing, is the coach always got us out on the ice and back to basics. And so the beautiful thing about this call, this collaboration that you folks did today, and thanks for letting me be part of it, Peggy, was everybody was talking about some of the basics things that we need to do as real estate agents. And that's work your sphere in your market. Those cards that, sorry, I've got her name written down here. Yeah, so those, great. You know, Peggy, I shared this with you the other day. My personal mentor back in the day had cards, and you know, if he'd see an article on somebody, he would go out, he would cut it out, he'd laminate it, he'd put it in the mail and say, hey, you're in the news. And so agent referrals are a big thing, working your sphere, working your fellow agents that you've done a business, a deal with. So everything you folks covered off today was phenomenal. And like Darren Jacklin says, all we are in life is a network of conversations, and just being here today, you know, it's spurring me up again, because I'm getting back into the thrill of real estate, the real estate industry. And for me, it'll be agent attraction and agent referrals. So I'll be concentrating on that moving forward. But being part of these calls is a phenomenal gift for me to get back to the basics and back in with wonderful people like yourself who are like-minded, who want to level up, who want to grow. And more so than ever, what I experienced here in the last 60 minutes plus is that spirit of giving and people pouring into each other. So kudos to you. Again, thanks for letting me be part of it. And I look forward to seeing you all next week. If you'll let a fellow north of the border come in and join you fine folks from the US of A.
Everybody's welcome. Thank you guys. It's been a great
Here's
call.
some of the cards I use.
Oh,
Beautiful.
those are
Yeah.
beautiful.
They're on Amazon. It's very inexpensive and it's pretty. And I just decided not to use I had some branded cards when I was at KW, but these are so easy and pretty. People want to open it.
Perfect. Thanks for
you,
sharing, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Sarah, I see you
Thanks,
in
everybody.
July.
Thank you,
Thank
Peggy.
you.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Ashley.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Ash.
everybody. Thanks,
Bye.
Peg.